All right, here we are today with Jason Richter from Fisher Island Club. Jason, how long have you had the ultrafine bubble system by NanoOxygens?
Yeah, so I met Ron a couple years ago, and we planned then to incorporate the NanoOxygen system into the project, which I finished successfully this fall, and we installed it September 1, 2025. So about 6 months or so.
What type of project was that you're referring to?
We had a full renovation project at Fisher Island, and we basically, our goal was to get off potable water, or our reliability on potable water. So it was a big kind of new concept desalinization system, using potable water as an injector into our irrigation reservoir. And then we use the NanoOxygen system to really keep our pond clean. That's why I met Ron. I met Ron because I wanted to utilize this brackish body of water for irrigation on my golf course instead of potable water, because I'm past Palom. So we have the tolerancy to the salts, and didn't want to be able to treat the irrigation pond with algicide. So the Nano system was the tool that I elected to use. And now I'm seeing that it was the best decision I ever could have made because of the agronomic benefits that we're seeing today.
Now, the potable water you referred to, were you paying for that?
Absolutely, yeah.
What was your budget for something like that?
Yeah, we were trending towards almost $500,000 a year in potable water to treat our entire golf course with. No way of reducing that in sight.
Okay, so today, are you using any potable water?
Yeah, but significant savings, upwards of 80% to date. And we think with our new system, the future will chase towards 99%. And we are seeing improved benefits in our soil. So not only are we off the water, the potable water, and that fixed cost, but we're now starting to see savings because of what the NanoOxygen has done to our soils.
Okay. That was my next question going to be, when you put it in, what was the reason and what was the expectations now that you've had this system? Has it met or been better than the expectations you had?
Yeah, so I think my expectations were baseline really for helping it treat the pond for our irrigation water, but then the secondary benefits have been extraordinary. I mean, immediately we had a portion, we have two holes of our golf course greens that we weren't able to treat with the treated water now. They were still on potable. So we ran a 12-week grow-in using the same products. And our findings were significant in the organic matter and CEC creation in those levels, almost double as high compared to non-treated greens. So we didn't do anything different, and it made us look twice as good using the nano-treated water. And, you know, we got all the financial savings.
Okay, so at your course, the product you have, I don't remember, is it ozone, pH, and dissolved oxygen, or is it?
Yeah, so we do not have the pH currently, just dissolved oxygen and ozone, and we're just treating the water in the irrigation pond. Currently, we are not connected and injecting into the wet well, but our plans are to add the CO2 and be injecting into our wet well here soon to help bring down our pH, which sits currently in the mid 8s. Mid to low 8s, so we hope to see a big improvement there just with those changes here soon.
So what you're telling me, the soil biology has improved quite a bit, and that's something that you weren't even anticipating, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be honest, I didn't fully understand what Ron was telling me with the charged particles and what we were going to see in the soil biology. But after running it just on the short time, just watching it every day, trying to grow these greens in, we saw how much quicker it was to just grow the roots. It seemed like the biome was better on the treated water. The water was making everything work better. It was making things more available it was almost just serving the plant what you would see a human if they were sick and had to go be put on an oxygen respirator. I can't say anything better than that. It just seemed like whatever was there was being optimized. Whatever we were doing was making it better and making it last forever and bind to the plant in a organic, natural way that supported all biology quickly, very quickly.
So let's return back to the project, your renovation project. You had a interesting coincidence where you had a couple greens that couldn't get water from the NanoOxygen system. You had to rely on the old watering, and then you had a majority of the greens that were watered with the new water. Mm-hmm. How would you say, in comparison, how they responded?
Yeah, so simple data. After 12 weeks, we pulled some soil samples, treated versus non-treated. I'll start with the non-treated. Non-treated, we were seeing CECs of a 2 compared to treated. That was almost double, 3.7 on the CEC. Which in turn allowed us to see higher available phosphorus levels. Our available phosphorus was twice as high in our treated versus non-treated, and then calcium, the third one that's so specific for us sandy soil guys, was almost 3 times as available. So we could see in just the 10 to 12 weeks, all of our inputs were being held twice and 3 times as well, and we saw it physically because we didn't have to go out there every 4 days and continue to apply, especially as we got into the winter. We can stay on that one application. So we not only saw better greens, but we actually were doing less work towards the end.
And that was with the greens that were treated with the NanoOxygen
Correct.
water. Now with the ones that weren't, how would you determine if we were at 80, a scale of 1 to 10, how did the ones with NanoOxygen function? And how did the 2 that weren't, as far as growing density and time?
Yes, I'd say the ones under treated nano were 100%, and the non-treated were probably 70%, 70 to 75. And even then, I didn't have the confidence in them as the grass grower that I did in the other ones. I felt like they were still less resilient through and through.
Did those 2 greens take extra effort?
Absolutely. Every week, the last 4 weeks of our 12-week treatment compared to the treated in 8 weeks were dense, pretty tight. We could start pulling back treatments because we were just adding on, and the plant had the ability to hold the nutrients and moisture a lot better just because the organic formation, as we saw. The last 4 weeks with the non-treated water, we were still out there 2 times a week, Mondays and Fridays, doing 2 applications. So we were losing that battle because we could see even after a couple days, they were starting to turn just from the lack of nutrients that was being able to hold in that young new soil.
Right. As we know, this technology is a substantial investment. But I want to talk about the value that you see for that investment. Now, from your perspective, since you were able to grow it in faster and better, there's actually a dollar value you can attribute to that. Were you able to open sooner or get play faster?
Yeah, absolutely. We were able to hit a near impossible open date. We closed in, let's say, end of May, and we reopened for season the first week of December. And so we were able to do a full-scale renovation in 6 months.
6 months.
6 months, yeah. And with a grow-in, I started my greens and open for play 12 weeks. So let's say middle of August and opened beginning of December. So 16 weeks. I would not have been able to get through the season definitively with the amount of play and meeting expectations if it wasn't for nanobubble technology. The 2 greens that did not receive the treated water were a very difficult playing surface to manage this year. And if we had to manage all of them like that with the amount of additional labor, I think we would have seen significant overall decline. And nano, I think how we're using it today is amazing. I think how we'll use it tomorrow is mind-blowing. I think this gives us the ability and the tools to start to connect the dots for future innovations by giving us the ability to repeat the environment over and over. We have a nano where we can manipulate the water, where we can start to repeat environments. So that makes us better scientists for the future, where we're going to really start to, I think, create turnkey designer water to match all different turfs in all different regions for the future.
Right. And that's going to really help with turf consistency, playing conditions, consistency, and things
I'd
of
say
that
those
nature.
are all plus, plus, plus. Anything we can optimize and reduce what we're doing physically, that means we're doing things for less money, less time spent on things. Yeah, I think this is going to kind of revolutionize the agronomic market.
Okay. So I want to propose this question from a renovation standpoint. So golf courses that are looking to renovate in the future, if they asked you, would it be beneficial and valuable to implement this technology prior to their grow-in?
Yeah, and I'd say this needs to go in, the first section. This technology gives you the opportunity to benefit in every scenario of golf course construction, maintenance, future projects. I'd say this is a key player, and you're going to get more out of your soil. You're going to keep your new infrastructure of your water cleaner. You're running everything off lower energy. And the future, we'll be able to connect dots with this new tool to start to give longevity more to your fertilizer, fungicide programs. And again, I think we don't truly understand yet the future, but with this tool, I think things will become very clear very shortly.
Okay, I want to look back before you started your renovation. If I came to you and said, hey, I got this great technology that's going to simplify things, make it grow in quicker, you're going to save all this, and you'd never heard about it, you wouldn't really have been a believer.
I wouldn't have believed you. Yeah.
You've had it now for 6 months. Are you a believer?
Absolutely. Yeah. And very happy to be a pioneer. I feel like it's already paid value. I paid off the equipment in 60 days for just reduction of the allotment of budgeted water for the grow-in.
And what was roughly the cost of your install?
About $250,000.
Right. And you saved that in 60 days. 60
days. Yeah. Just in reduction of potable water that I had budgeted to use for the grow-in. Yeah, right away. And I'm thankful. I feel thankful to have it now and very excited for the future. I feel as a young superintendent operations lead that this is the first technology that I feel that's going to help the operator first and going to allow us to save ourselves and get more control of the budgeted money so that we can go hire that labor needed, that management guy, that piece of equipment that we know that holds us back and we know better than anyone, and stop us from sacrificing our lives for these clubs and start to gain back some traction and start to make this journey of being a superintendent enjoyable and attract the future talent of people that we need to rebuild and give this industry what it really deserves for the future.
Right, because we need that. When I started 50 years ago, superintendent's job was relatively easy compared to what the expectations are now. And you're right, it's driven a lot of quality people out of the industry.
Very much so.
This is a way to relieve a lot of that stress and bring back good quality people.
I truly believe so. And that's why I'm here to put all my attention and heart into it, because I just want to help as many people. And this is the best job there is in the world for so many people. But it doesn't need to be that hard. And buffering this water so that leaders of operators can be the best people person. And if we can help out and make their water and be the chemist, and that combination can bring better golf to everyone, sign me up. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah. Aren't I right when I compare the golf course to your body and the pump stations, your heart? You want to pump the best blood possible, like you want to pump the best water possible.
Yeah, I'd say this equates to humans going and getting a blood transfusion or dialysis. We're pumping ozone to sterilize their blood. We're putting in dissolved oxygen to energize them. And then the third thing is the O2. What are we doing? We're reducing inflammation in the body. So we are allowing everything to connect by bringing the pH to the proper neutral level. And it's all science, it's all base root biologies. And I think I know this is the future for regulations, for pollution control, for downstream watersheds, for municipalities, you name it. It's not corrosive, it's low energy. Be a pioneer, get in now. I think it's coming.
Right. So this is on the leading edge of environmentally friendliness and sustainability. Would you
Without
agree?
a doubt, this is the leading edge of environmental sustainability, 100%. Because you're going to be able to show significant increases of the ability to bind with nutrients, right? We're testing our water quality, and every pollutant is found in your water. And most of the time, we're adding things as secondary add-ons or synthetics and things to fit the role, where we're getting release of nutrients in solution in plant form, but it's not held with any strength. And that's the actual polluter.
Right.
And that's where our job becomes very difficult, because right when we finally get all that stuff in at the right time, we get a big rain, we pollute everyone behind us, and we're back to starting over.
Right. Right. Ralph, you got any questions or?
All right, no.
Man,
Good.
that was good. Oh, I want to. So you've had the system now for 6 months.
Yep.
How is the reliability and performance of the system and of NanoOxygen as a company for standing behind it?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be here spending my time today if I didn't believe in Ron and Ralph and the guys here at Nano. They serve the same similar goals that I feel. Let's start helping everyone. We have a tool here that might be a little expensive right now, but the benefit way outweighs the value. And the value for the future is a larger value than it is now.
Right. Way outweighs the cost.
Way outweighs the cost. And trying to help now, try to really pull that value and where it lies in critical agronomic practices and how we can add that value immediately, along with getting data, testing it on the back end, and making sure we're moving these energies in the right place to make sure it gets to the market equipped, but at the right time. And like you said, we've been 4 or 5 years now. The nanotechnology has been around for decades. It's applicable in so many different sciences. It is a great delivery system. And so excited to see what else we can deliver for plant needs via nano.
I want to step back to one thing in the brackish water. I'm not so familiar with that, but what benefits do you see for that application in brackish water? And that's an impact on a lot of courses, right? They deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, anyone that lives in a coastal town is going to have some type of brackish water intrusion or deficiencies in your water. So yeah, again, the nanos perform a little bit different in salt water. So we're testing that as well for my sake. But we're going to be able to desalinate water. And I'm currently doing that now with potable water injection. But the future with nano is it will be a desalinization tool by helping us extract and move some of these sodium chloride ions around that aren't hurting the turf. I am seeing no salt water damage to any turf or rooting of any kind. Currently, the only thing I'm seeing is still sodium and chlorides from the salt building up in the soil. So I still have to flush a little more often than I have in the past. But I'm sure with this technology, the future is making sure that we are removing those salts like we're doing with other things now. And it will be a part of desalinization in the future.
So because your greens are new with this grow, and it's hard for us to determine root depth, root mass, has it increased, or what's your feeling on that in general?
Yeah, I mean, if we go off CEC and straight organic matter, you're saying twice, double the potential. Yeah, double the potential. And that's just wide open with, first gen. If I had to go back and do it again tomorrow, there would be things I would change, and I would try to say we could do 3X, but not knowing, just straight up turning it in, plugging it in and doing the same exact thing, it was twice as fast.
Okay.
Yep, twice as much.
So if you had a golf course come to you and they said, we're going to renovate our irrigation system, would you recommend including this in the project? What would your answer be?
Yeah, absolutely. If you didn't, you're going to be behind, but why wouldn't you do a self-cleaner? HDPE is going to be dug up by aliens. The future of irrigation installs on golf courses is limited. It's now about a serviceable item and longevity. So if you want longevity for your valves, for your heads, for your connections, and for your underground system, it's nano.
Right.
It's a self-cleaner, no corrosion. You know, if we start injecting acid into our systems at high rates like we are right now to currently combat pH issues, the corrosive nature of that stuff is, ask any superintendent that's doing it, and they will tell you that is the cost worth the reward. But right now it's the only tool, and we'll now have better, less corrosive tools that will be able to do that.
But with the CO2 that we have now started using, that's going to offset all the corrosiveness and be very beneficial.
100%.
All right.